Hi Leo and Leo Rising, this is your September 2016 forecast. So September is quite a busy month astrologically. There are two eclipses, a solar eclipse on the 1st of September in Virgo in your 2nd house, and a lunar eclipse on the 16th of September in your 8th house. So eclipses can be wild cards, they can accelerate events, they can bring a lot of changes that are rapid and unforeseen. They can also bring things to a head, so things culminate or boil over. So matters come to a conclusion, often in an emotionally charged way. So these sorts of things can bring, like I said, unanticipated events. So in your 2nd house, that's going to mean that you might want to budget just in case money's late coming in, and you want to look at what you're investing your money in. The solar eclipse on the 1st of September is going to be sowing the seeds of new beginnings in your 2nd house. So let's look at what new beginnings are on the horizon. So the 2nd house has to do with money. It's where we find self-esteem. It's all the resources that we have at our disposal. It's also movable property. So this has to do with how you generate income and how you feel about yourself in terms of what you own and in terms of what you're doing. So are you utilizing your talents and skills? Are you being independent and resourceful? So how does your income streams make you feel about yourself? So behind all of that is the idea of what we value. So the 2nd house with the sun there and a solar eclipse happening there on the 1st of September can really highlight what we value and what we hold dear. So, you'll be asking yourself if what you're doing is worth it. Is it worth investing all that time and energy? Is it using your talents to their maximum efficiency? So could you be doing more? Should you be doing something else? How can you become more rooted and established? Where are you going to find purpose and identity? And are the things that you're doing to make money helping in that? So whereas the full moon eclipse on the 16th is the house of joint resources, it's also a house because it deals with fears and anxieties of mind that can bring catharsis. It may be a time where personal habits or things that you're doing, come to a head and you realize you need to change certain things. There can be a bit of a power struggle. You might feel the need to renovate either something about yourself or something in your environment, so that things can go differently. So, this is also about how we share what we have. Are we being fair? Is there a balance between give and take? So these are things that you can look at this month. Jupiter is also moving into Libra and on the 9th of September into your 3rd house. So this Jupiter only moves signs once a year, so this is quite a big event. And it's been pretty constrained by Saturn previously in Virgo, so a lot of the growth and abundance that Jupiter traditionally signifies was kind of held back. But moving into Libra, it's going to be in a supportive relationship with Saturn, so there's going to be lots more opportunities for expansion and growth and enriching our lives, especially for you with Jupiter moving into your 3rd house. This is the house of day-to-day affairs, routine, it's close relationships with siblings and family. It's also communications. So Jupiter in this house is going to bring a lot of opportunities for close relations with family, warm relations, good cooperation between people in your day-to-day environment. And it's also going to bring a lot of enrichment in day-to-day affairs and luck in day-to-day affairs. So you may find you get a lot of lucky breaks with Jupiter in this house. And also very good for teaching and education and publishing projects. So, good for learning, good for developing, good for broadening your horizons, good for writing and publishing also. Okay, and also on the 22nd of September, it's the equinox. So that's what these eclipses are really about. It's sweeping clean so that they can be the start of something new. Depending on where you are in the world, it will either be the start of spring or the start of autumn. So new beginnings, the end of things that are redundant, with the full moon in your 8th house, cleaning all those skeletons out of the closet. Okay, so let's look through the month day by day. Mercury has been retrograde from the 30th of August and will be until the 22nd of September. It's also in your 2nd house. So one thing to be aware of is that you'll want to get your financial affairs in order, because the 2nd and the 8th houses are the houses of finances. It's, like I said, it's where money comes in, it's how we make money and how money goes out. So you may find you have to settle a debt, or alternatively that money comes in from a project where you've been waiting to be paid and you haven't been paid yet. But make sure your financial affairs are in order in terms of paying taxes, paying bills, checking out all your insurance details and policies. So get those things in order because it will help other areas of your life flow more smoothly. So just be aware of that. Mercury retrograde is a good energy for consolidating old business. It's not as fruitful for starting new business, but of course we sometimes have to. So just make sure you check all your communication details very carefully and make sure you're being understood. Okay, so I promised to go through the month day by day, so let me just backtrack a little bit. So the solar eclipse on the 1st of September has some difficult aspects between the Sun, Moon and Saturn, and the Sun, Moon and Neptune. So Saturn and Mars have been in your 5th house. This is the house of creative projects, personal business. So it's also children and pleasure generally speaking. So, pleasure and romance may have been a little bit frustrated, but the squares from the solar eclipse probably indicate how you've been struggling to get a creative, personal business or passion project off the ground. So, it's where you've had to do a lot of hard work, where you've possibly clashed with authority figures, where you've experienced delays and restrictions, and you won't have been getting the recognition yet that you deserve. So this is all about weathering that, because the rewards are going to come later. But this is a good opportunity to utilize Leo's organizational and managerial skills. So delegate where you can so that the responsibilities aren't just being carried by you. The opposition between the Sun and the Moon and Neptune can show some problems potentially around money coming in. Perhaps you haven't really tied up the budget side of whatever it is that you're doing, and you're not quite sure where the resources will come from. So hopefully you get some clarity about this. And like I said, it's a very supercharged new moon essentially. So hopefully this seeds a new beginning here, a new way to make money and generate more revenue for yourself, and to showcase your talents, because of course that's one of your resources as well. So on the 2nd of September, Mercury conjuncts Jupiter in your 2nd house. This could possibly show money coming in, like I said. So also good for going over old business, and you'll be feeling quite broad-minded and have a good grasp of whatever is under your surveillance at this time. And so like I said, good for going over details, good for a comprehensive understanding. On the 7th of September, the Sun is going to trine Pluto in your 6th house. So the Sun and Pluto in a harmonious aspect can really show energy, resourcefulness, focus. And this is great because the solar eclipse had a lot of confusing aspects. So this conversely is going to give you that power and purpose. And in the workplace, it's really going to show up as being intensely motivated around work, working very industriously, working very productively. So a very nice charged aspect on the 7th of September. So on the 9th of September, this is when Jupiter moves into Libra in your 3rd house, where it will stay for a full year. And like I said, there's a lot of opportunity here for education, for close relationships between friends, family, neighbors, and for luck on a day-to-day basis. So, it's really going to enrich your life on a daily basis because, you'll find things that are rewarding, you'll find opportunities to expand your mind and horizons continually. So Jupiter is going to give you a lot of rewards like that in small things that lead to bigger things. And it's also a good time to get involved with something educational, communicative, or that has to do with publishing and teaching possibly. So on the 10th of September, we've got the Saturn squaring Neptune. This has been a prominent aspect of 2016, and it has led to a lot of diffuse energy, uncertainty, confusion, self-doubt. So we'll be really glad to see the end of it. So it's been in between your 5th and 8th houses, so it can have shown delays around romantic matters and around joint resources. So, a bit of frustration, and perhaps things haven't been as fun as they usually are, or having a good time has been a bit harder than usual. So luckily, this is now moving out, and Mars is moving away from Saturn, so this should free things up quite a bit. On the 11th, Venus will square Pluto between your 3rd and your 6th houses. this could show a bit of a power struggle, between people. It can show people behaving in a dominant or pushy manner. Because you're a Leo, just make sure it's not you. And so just be aware of this. This can be one of those times when people clash horns and, people, everyone's needs aren't being taken into account. And this could really show up in the workplace in particular. So, just watch out. In a month of eclipses, things have a tendency of getting out of hand. So on the 12th, there's a similar aspect between Mercury and Mars. So Mercury and Mars together can show anger, harsh words, getting very incensed and defiant about your ideas and opinions. So you may feel the inclination to really, let it rip and let someone have it. So because this is happening just before the full moon, which also has some challenging Mars aspects, just be aware of this, because with a full moon, emotions can really boil up and boil over. So these Martian aspects, can lead to some rather regrettable explosions. So on the 16th, we've got that full moon happening in your 8th house. So you may find that matters pertaining to joint resources, and for that matter, personal transformation, come to a head. This is, in the 8th house, a full moon eclipse can have that meaning where, you've had enough. Like, there's a kind of cathartic experience, you make a personal breakthrough, you decide you've got to let go of certain things, and your life is going to be better without them. Like I said, it can be a bit of a power struggle, particularly around joint resources, and conversely, you may also find that money comes in at this time, or something reaches a conclusion around joint resources. So consolidating, financial affairs, very much the theme for you this month. So watch out for that lunar eclipse. Like I said, emotions can be a bit powerfully charged at this time because of the difficult Mars aspects, but they're very good aspects to use for problem solving and efficiency. So, channel it into those areas instead. On the 17th of September, Mars trines Uranus, also an aspect that was present in the full moon. Like I said, here's your problem solving aspect. So this is really the key to diffusing all that angry energy. Apply yourself to a problem, tackle it with all your resources, consider ways to express your ambition and drive in an unusual fashion. So where can you be inventive and pioneering, and apply that Martian energy to getting resolution? If nothing else, just make sure you go for a good jog in the park, because like I said, this is definitely a time when you'll want to let off excess steam. So on the 19th, Venus is sextiling Mars from the 3rd to the 5th house. If you're single, this is a really good aspect for chemistry. The 5th house is romance as well. So, this is good for dating, and if you are in a relationship, just good for chemistry generally speaking. But also good for social cooperation generally. So a good aspect for social relations, socializing, going on a date, trying something new. So make use of it. Between the 20th and the 23rd, Mercury will trine Pluto between your 2nd and 6th houses. So Mercury is just about to go direct, and Mercury and Pluto together in a harmonious aspect is really going to give you clarity and inspiration. Your ideas are going to be pretty powerful. This is a good energy for pulling things together. So if you've been working on something and trying to get it together, then this is the aspect that's going to help you do that. So good for research, good for getting to the bottom of things, good for tying up loose ends. Your ideas will really have a punch. So very productive aspect. So after this, Mercury goes direct. Give it a few days. So it goes direct on the 22nd of September. So give it a few days to pick up speed. So if there has been something that you've been working on, or you want to initiate new business, then this is the time to do it. Especially because there's a very benefic conjunction between the Sun and Jupiter coming up on the 26th. So if there's something that you want to publish, or something that you want to launch, or an educational scheme that you want to get involved with, they'll be conjuncting in your 3rd house, which is good for all of those things. So like I said, use this aspect of luck if you want to launch something. So the 26th would be a good day for that. So the Sun moves into Libra in your 3rd house on the 23rd of September. So this is going to bring the energy into day-to-day affairs, routine, relationships with siblings and neighbors. So it will be very harmoniously placed here with Jupiter at the beginning of the month, at the end of September. So you can possibly expect a lucky break of some kind coming, that you just end up bumping into. So very optimistic and energized and fortunate aspect also for educational matters and for teaching and publishing. So the month wraps up with a new moon in Libra in your third house, but more on that next month. But suffice it to say, it's more of a placid new moon, more harmonious, and we shouldn't have the drama of September. If you've enjoyed this forecast, please like and subscribe to my channel. And thanks for listening.